Hello and welcome to Wednesday's programme.
Your headlines tonight. From the north to the southwest, the new Prime Minister travels to Bath and says affordable transport will be arriving soon.
Particularly in an area like this where in the past bus fares have been as high as £4 plus even, this is a policy that will make a real difference.
Also tonight, the battle against illegal waste continues for Gloucestershire Council.
Keep a lookout. Experts want people to report sightings of Asian hornets, which they say are killing native honeybees. And a barber from Bath is recognised with a doctorate for his contribution to the local community. Good evening. First tonight, the new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, chose Bath today to launch his latest scheme to combat the cost of living crisis, a £2 cap on bus fares across the country.
Mr Burnham addressed the media at Bath bus station and was also quizzed on his commitment to devolve power to regions including the West Country. Our political correspondent, Alicia Fitzgerald, was there to ask the key questions to our latest Prime Minister.
Outside of London, all of 2027, so fares will be...
Andy Burnham is no stranger to a bus. In fact, he owes part of his political success to them. As Manchester's mayor, he transformed the city's network, and this morning, in his first visit as Prime Minister, he arrived in Bath, determined to do the same here.
Well, look at Greater Manchester. Obviously, we've had the £2 bus cap for a long time. I introduced it, and the number of people using buses has just grown and grown ever since. So partly the policy is about encouraging people to leave the car at home, use the bus. It's easier. You don't have the cost of parking. You can have a drink and enjoy your day. And I think more and more people in places like Greater Manchester are realising that, and exactly the same will happen here.
The Southwest presents a different challenge. For many rural communities, the bigger issue isn't the price of the bus, it's whether there's one to catch in the first place.
I think you have to also think of it in relation to who's benefiting most. So I'm in a rural community. We do have buses and that's great, but there are some areas that aren't reached by buses and so they don't benefit from that. So it's not going to solve every problem with the cost of living, but it certainly is a helpful step.
Supporting the PM was social media star Bus Auntie. She'll be buying a return ticket.
But today, coming to Bath, I must say, Bath is beautiful, honestly. And I can't wait to come back next time to get on those buses and see the rest of, Bath and Bristol and just ride on the bus, really. Yeah.
Today's announcement is about more than buses. It's the first attempt to bring one of Andy Burnham's most successful Manchester policies over to the rest of the country. Whether or not it's a success in the southwest, that may depend on where you live.
Well, Alicia, who you heard there, has hot-footed it back to Westminster for us tonight. So, Alicia, Andy Burnham's first visit to our region there as Prime Minister, and he would have been really quite keen to make a good impression. How do you think that went?
Well, it wasn't just his first visit to our region as Prime Minister, it was his first visit anywhere outside of London as Prime Minister, and I think that element alone is pretty significant. The West Country generally has been somewhere where several MPs have flagged that they feel a little bit concerned about Andy Burnham's knowledge of the region, given that he has been Mayor of Greater Manchester for so long and then previously an MP for a similar area too. So that has always been a concern ever since he announced that he would be standing for Labour leader. So him coming today was really there to try and rebuff those concerns. He was there mainly to announce this policy, the idea that bus fares will be capped at £2 across England outside of London. And of course, that is a really positive thing. Most people will agree. The one thing, though, about the rural areas in the West Country is that most people say the bigger issue is that the lack of frequency in transport rather than the cost. So that will definitely be something that he will need to address further down the line once this policy is actually implemented. But overall today, that was the main purpose. I did get a chance to speak to him. I also asked him about the very small representation of South West MPs in his cabinet.
Well, Heidi Alexander is a West of England MP and a very, very effective Transport Secretary, and obviously I'm very proud to be working with her on the policy that we're announcing today. It's obviously not possible to evenly balance every region within a cabinet, but we have senior South West MPs in different positions as well. Karen, Bristol MP, continues as a Minister of State in the Department of Health.
And Alicia, can we expect to see more of Andy Burnham in our region anytime soon?
Well, Andy Burnham has said he wants to do politics differently, and his main crux within that is that he wants more devolution. That's passing power out of here, out of Westminster, down into the regions, the other parts of the UK, including the West Country. He says that he wants to make visiting these areas part of his core time in Downing Street and something that is really important to him, so I'm sure we can. He also did say to me too that all of our viewers can expect to see him there far more regularly, as it's something that he really wants to work on. I mean, of course, there will still be scepticism about how much he understands the West Country and how much priority he gives it, but that visibility will be something that proves to be extremely important during his time in Downing Street. It was interesting as well, we did get to speak about various other policies as well, and he did notice how important industries like defence and farming were for our region.
Alicia, thank you very much.
Right, let's bring you some other news tonight. And the mother of Taunton student Barnaby Webber, who was killed in the Nottingham attacks, has welcomed the investigation into the NHS trust that treated his killer. The public inquiry, which finished in May, heard that Valdo Calacane was discharged from the Nottinghamshire NHS trust the year before the attack because the team had lost him. Police have now confirmed that the trust is being investigated for corporate manslaughter.
This is actually properly holding to account. It's not a copy and paste, our thoughts are with the families and lessons will be learned. Those that have failed so grossly on an individual basis, as well as an organisational basis, will be held to account.
People are being warned to check the credentials of anyone coming to take away unwanted items from their house. It comes as a huge operation began in Gloucester today to clear an illegal dump, including the City Council, the police and the Environment Agency.
Well, officials say householders will be fined or even prosecuted if the goods are traced back to them. Ellie Barker has more.
They're here to bring order to this disorder. Hundreds of tons of dumped illegal waste. This site, behind the St Oswald's retail park in Gloucester, has been investigated since February.
It's really important that we demonstrate that illegal waste sites such as this are shut down, stopped and prevent the impact that they have on the local communities. We're seeing these sites grow all across the country, and seeing this direct action in partnership with Gloucester City Council and the police means and shows that these sites cannot continue.
They say it hasn't just had a devastating impact on the people living around it, but on the environment too.
Now, just to give you some idea of where we are, now look, have a look at this. You can see here, there's all residential flats, people all living here. But come through here and you can see the land. Now, it's 2 acres and it's owned privately, but all that rubbish has been dumped there without the owner's permission.
It's believed these kind of sites are often advertised on social media and all deals are paid with cash. But investigators here are also warning that it's up to us to check who we hand our waste to.
Yes, that's true. There is a responsibility, or what we call a duty of care, for anyone who's employing someone to take their waste away from their homes or gardens, that they do so responsibly and that they check against any company that is taking their waste or handling their waste, that they have the relevant licences and permissions in place to take that waste and dispose of it lawfully. And as you can see here today, that's not what's been occurring. Residents have been employing companies that have been illegally depositing the waste at this site.
So what could happen to those residents?
They could potentially, depending on the evidence and how the investigation goes, they could potentially receive a financial penalty.
How much would the fine be?
It's up to £1,000 for the resident. For those that are carrying the waste and depositing the waste illegally, it's a much higher fine, and that is set by the courts.
Well, you've got waste here that's going to be degrading, not just immediately, but also a long period of time. So we would see impacts from this waste as it decayed, the impact that it has. It's a floodplain, so water will be getting into it, flushing through. We just can't allow that to happen.
It's still unknown the impact this site has had on this part of Gloucester, but officers say they'll do all they can to stop it happening again. Ellie Barker, ITV News.
I know that area well. It's really sad for the locals as well.
It's vast. It's absolutely huge, isn't it?
Absolutely huge. Now, a cement company in Gloucestershire has been fined £1 million after an employee was crushed to death by machinery. 35-year-old Martin Bennett was working for Dragon Alpha Cement Limited on a site in Sharpness when he was found crushed by a 1.6-tonne concrete weight. The company pleaded guilty to breaching Section 2 of the Health and Safety at Work Act.
A cannabis farm, thought to be one of the largest ever uncovered, has been found in an abandoned poultry shed near Burbage in Wiltshire. Police say it was a highly sophisticated setup with more than 1,000 plants at an estimated street value of £500,000. Detectives reckon around £1.5 million worth of electricity was illegally drawn directly from the national grid to power the farm.
A domestic abuse charity in Trowbridge received a near 60% increase in calls from the southwest during the World Cup. Fear Free works across all communities to try and break the cycle of domestic abuse. They're urging anyone who harms their loved ones to seek help. They provide a free course to help change people's behaviours.
Children in Somerset who are eligible will be automatically enrolled into the free school meals programme. Current rules mean families must apply to opt into the service. But Somerset Council says that means some children miss out because of stigma and language barriers. Councillors say the move will help ensure no child misses out.
It's 12 minutes past 6 and you're watching ITV News in the West Country with Louisa and Seth.
Thanks for your company this Wednesday evening. Still ahead before 6:30. Bath Spa University recognises a barber for his work in the community.
And we've had plenty of hot weather, plenty of sunny weather, but plenty of dry weather. That may be changing as we head towards the weekend. A splash of the wet stuff heading our way. All the details coming up.
Now, it's an age-old saying, isn't it? 5 a day keeps the doctor away. But for many households, that just isn't realistic. Food insecurity is on the rise and experts are warning it's only going to get worse.
New data released today shows almost 9 million people in the UK can't afford healthy and nutritious food. It's prompted calls from the government to introduce a good food bill, which charities hope will make healthy food affordable for everyone. Hannah Ludlow reports.
For Dan White, the weekly shop is a weekly reminder of how expensive healthy food can be. Dan cares for his disabled daughter Emily. Affording a nutritious diet on top of medication and transport costs is a real challenge.
Weekly, we tend to want to buy good quality food, like good fruit and veg, good meat products, things like that. But unfortunately, we're pretty much priced out of doing that. So unfortunately, there's an over-reliance on processed food. Now, as I said, due to Emily's underlying health conditions, this has a detrimental effect on her health.
New figures released today show almost 1 in 8 households in the UK are experiencing food insecurity. That means they don't have access to enough affordable, nutritious and healthy food. That's 6.5 million adults and 2.2 million children. More than a third of households say it's harder to afford food now compared to last year. And almost 1 in 10 have accessed food support in the last 6 months. Most often, people needing that support will go to a food bank, like this one in Bristol.
People undergo crises in their lives, which make things very difficult to manage for a temporary period or occasionally a longer period. Other factors could be more long-term illness, the fact that universal credit is not necessarily sufficient to make ends meet. So it's an essential crisis tool for a lot of people.
And the problem isn't going away. With rising inflation and global conflicts causing uncertainty, there are calls for the government to set legally binding targets through a good food bill.
We're really concerned that the food insecurity situation is going to deteriorate in the coming months. Part of the problem is that our food system's now really dangerously exposed to some of these big international shocks, not least the geopolitical events we've been seeing, but also climate shocks, which are increasingly coming through the system. So we've got to create more resilience. So we're producing more of our fruit and veg at home, but also making it more accessible and affordable for everybody.
For too many people like Dan, a healthy diet is out of reach or leaves them out of pocket.
You need to improve the accessibility of food systems. You need organisations like the Food Foundation to enact what they're trying to put through Parliament, which is a food bill which will bring the costs of good quality food down, but also unify the food industry to make it accessible and affordable for all. And until all these things are sorted and put in place, the situation will only exacerbate and get worse.
Hannah Ludlow, ITV News.
Now, wildlife experts are warning people to report any sightings of Asian hornets. More of the insects are being spotted here.
Yes, that's a concern because they eat and destroy native honeybees. But the question is, what should we be looking out for and what should we do about it? James Webster has been finding out.
A recently captured Asian hornet. Still rare across England, they have distinctive yellow legs and a single ring around their waist. More frequent sightings of them are a real concern for beekeepers like Chris Morton from Bristol.
It is a voracious predator. It eats not only honeybees but every other single little bee, pollinator and everything in vast quantities. One nest of an Asian hornet will consume 11 to 12 kilograms of small insects, and that, for context, is the equivalent of 2 whole beehives.
The number of Asian hornet nests recorded last year increased to 163. The charity Bug Life is one of those urging people to report sightings.
Be particularly vigilant so we can at least try and keep them in those areas, but they're very, very hard to control because the average nest will produce maybe 30 new queens who will go off and they can set up new nests up to 30 kilometres apart, so that's a huge spread in a very short space of time.
Locations where they're found are plotted on a map. More common in the southeast, they are now seen almost all over the country. Pest control expert Paul Clayton has been called out to deal with them.
Well, firstly they start in a hedgerow like this. So what it would be like a golf ball size nest you're looking for. And it would just be hanging in this hedgerow somewhere like here. And there'd be a hole at the bottom and you'll see an Asian hornet pop out. That lone queen will then move to a tree similar to this and the nest will start high up.
This summer's warm weather could, according to experts, increase the number of Asian hornets.
We've got a European hornet's nest and a wasp nest. And you can see the difference, significant difference in size of the hexagon shapes where the young are born. And an Asian hornet is a little bit smaller than a European hornet, so it won't be much different size and structure.
They say finding and destroying a nest is a job for a professional with the correct safety precautions.
We need to monitor numbers we're getting in this into the UK now. So there's an app that anyone can download, the Asian Hornet Watch app, where you can go on and report if you've seen or suspect something, and they'll get back to you and probably come out and inspect it.
Eradicating Asian hornets from our gardens may no longer be an option, but reducing their numbers remains a priority. James Webster, ITV News.
When they put those two nests side by side and you saw how big the Asian hornet was, terrifying, really.
I have seen an Asian hornet's nest. It was in 2016 in Tetbury. I think it was the first confirmed one in UK mainland.
Was it huge?
It was huge. Oh, they're quite frightening. They are quite frightening.
And really devastating to honeybees by the sounds of things.
Yeah. Well, the ITV News continues after us with the national and international stories at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, the widow of the police officer Andrew Harper says it is deplorable that 2 of his killers are being considered for early release. The backlash has prompted a government review of the scheme. The former boss of Southern Water is among 4 people charged over alleged plans to manipulate water quality tests. And the toughest nominees for Tree of the Year are out, including an oak that survived a crash with a Lancaster bomber. Well, do join me with those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, Bath Spa University have awarded an honorary doctorate to a barber from the city in recognition of his contribution to the local community.
Yes, Eddie Illick provides free haircuts for the homeless and has inspired others with his own story of overcoming adversity. Well, earlier he joined us in the studio and told us how it feels to be recognised for his work.
Feels really good. It feels, it hasn't quite sunk in yet. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time for it just to sink in, but I feel incredibly grateful.
You've had your own journey with this, haven't you? But what led you to do this?
So I'm in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I've been clean and sober, it'll be next week, for 11 years. And for me, a huge part of my recovery is service. So to be able to give back.
And what's the response that you get when you go and do that act of service, like you say?
A lot of these men and women, they don't get seen. So, you know, it makes them feel human again and gives them back their dignity, their self-worth. And I think that's really important for someone who, you know, feels alone when they're living on the streets.
Do you know what? It sounds part satisfying and part heartbreaking as well for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, it's really close to my heart because a lot of these men and women, you know, they struggle with addiction. Not saying all homeless people are addicts or alcoholics, but, you know, it is tough seeing them in the grips of addiction. But at the same time, it's such a rewarding thing to see when I'm able to, you know, build that trust with them when they're sitting in the chair, you know, and this is something that I've learned. You can't, you know, shove recovery down someone's throat or anything like that. It's, you know, they've got to want it and they've got to, you know, help themselves first. But as soon as they sit in that chair and they start to open up and talk about, you know, their own demons or mental health or addiction, you know, that allows me then to be able to talk about my past and my experience. And that's how it works, just hopefully passing that message.
And you're incredibly busy already, but you've got a big project coming up April next year in America, I hear.
That's right. So April the 1st, I'm going to be cycling from coast to coast of America, which is about 4,100 miles. And we're going to stop off in 5 major cities along the way. And we've partnered up with a hair brand, which we use in the salon. And they're going to help recruit hairdressers on the ground, so that when we stop off at the cities, I've created the Eddie Street Cut package of how I've set it here, so that then I can deliver that to the hairdressers in the States, and hopefully, you know, they can continue giving back within their own community as we ride on to the next place.
Well, you're doing an extraordinary job. Eddie, the world needs more people like you, honestly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He was such a lovely human being.
It was really nice to talk to him. Yeah, best of luck to him on his massive cycle next year. That sounds gruelling, but yeah, all for a great cause.
Yes. Now, each year we have a wonderful opportunity to meet and celebrate the people amongst us who go that extra mile to raise money for good causes. And I'm pretty sure we all know someone, but we don't want you to keep them to yourselves. It's time to sing their praises and nominate them for the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser Award.
And we need your help. We would like to celebrate the amazing, thoughtful people across the West Country who raise money for amazing causes. But we need you to tell us who they are by nominating them for the Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser Award.
So to nominate, all you have to do is go to itv.com/Pride of Britain. That's all one word. And you can nominate individuals or groups, but only one person plus a guest can attend the Pride of Britain Awards in London. Nominees must be aged 18 or over and be available to be filmed and have their fundraising story told on ITV Regional News.
Complete the nomination form and tell us why your nominees deserve this award. If you're under the age of 18, please get permission from a parent or guardian before you nominate. And nominations close on Sunday, the 2nd of August at 11:59 p.m. For more information, T's and C's and privity notice, visit itv.com/terms.
Yes, get thinking and get nominating as well. Right, weather time now, and James Wright has the forecast.
Expect clear skies, island vibes, and afternoons made for exploring. TUI sponsors ITV West Country Weather.
Hi there, good evening. We've seen plenty of sunshine across the west today. Yes, we've seen bits of cloud drifting through, and that will continue for the rest of the week. It will remain settled, plenty more sunshine on offer, but we have this possibility of some showery rain as we head into the weekend. Much welcomed and hopefully not too heavy, because of course the ground is pretty compacted at the moment. High pressure keeping things settled, that is going to start pulling away. We'll see these fronts moving through. First one just brings a bit of extra cloud. The second one, as we head through Saturday into Sunday, that's where we're hoping to see some significant rain, and by significant, more than just getting the ground damp. Now, as far as this evening and overnight goes, plenty of clear spells around, pretty light breezes. As temperatures dip away, we might see a little bit of mist forming, and by the end of the night a little bit of extra cloud, but generally high cloud drifting in from the north. Temperatures, well, 13 to 16 Celsius. Our towns are still holding on to the heat overnight after these very warm and hot days. One or two rural spots might sneak into high single digits. Tomorrow then, rinse and repeat. Lots of sunshine around. As the temperatures rise, it helps to melt the cloud, but then we see a little bit of high cloud drifting through from the north, and maybe some fair weather cloud bubbling up too. Temperature wise, potentially hotter than today in places. 28 Celsius is possible, even a sneaky 29, because there's not much of a breeze out there. And then as far as the rest of the week goes, sunny end to the week, nice and warm, cooler on Saturday, that possibility of some rain on Sunday.
TUI sponsors ITV West Country Weather.
Sneaky 29. That's good, isn't it? Just before we go, let's have a look at how the barn owls at Arlington Court in North Devon are getting on.
Yes, we first showed you this nest box camera when the female was sitting on eggs, and now there are 7 healthy and ever-growing chicks. They'll still be there for a few weeks yet before they start fledging. Yeah. They're very fluffy, aren't they? You feel like you're just squishing them.
They can turn them.
Yeah, that's last week. I don't like it when their head rotates all the way around. Right, that's goodbye from the two of us. Nick Smith will have the late news for you at 10:30.
After the break, though, the ITV News continues with Mary Nightingale. But for now, from all of us here, enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.